This bullet, 762BP, is fairly hated this wipe, but is the hatred deserved? As a meta round in previous patches, it's interesting to see its fall from grace, as in the not so distant past, it was the only bullet you'd ever die to. So first off, in terms of technical performance, if you're playing against class 5 armor, BP can kill 45% of the time on the second shot and 87% of the time on either shot 2 or shot 3, i.e. by shot 3 then they are most likely dead. This was one of the things that made it so strong in the past. However, with the introduction of the changes to the armor system, this alters the equations slightly in that it can't ever kill on the second hit anymore versus class 5 plates but with class 3 behind. It does still have an 80% chance to kill you on the third shot though. Moving up to class 6, like many players have at the moment, then you're up to a 75% chance to kill on shots number 5, but near 0 before that, which is obviously quite a dramatic increase in survivability. However, there are only a handful of bullets that are able to get better performance than this, namely SNB for the SVD and M61 for 7.62x51 NATO, and the most popular bullets M62 and SIG Hybrid are also 5 shots to kill along with BP. So, at least on paper, 7.62 BP shouldn't be that bad, but there are some other considerations that we need to take into account as well, such as obviously the weapons themselves. Just before we continue, today's video is sponsored by Factor 75, providing you with delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. You can choose from a weekly menu of 35 options, including some of the most popular such as Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie. Also, discover more than 60 add-ons every week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks, and drinks to help cover all of your bases and feel good all day long about both what you're eating and your wallet. Everyone knows just how expensive takeout has become these days. Factor is cheaper and tastier, bringing you restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door. As they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, this means more time for doing the things that you love. And if you're anything like me, that is certainly not cooking. One of the best parts is that when things get hectic, Factor is flexible. Change your order up every week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week, or pause and reschedule your deliveries anytime. As added peace of mind, with Factor you can be sure that you're making a sustainable choice too. Factor offsets 100% of delivery emissions and sources 100% renewable electricity for both their production sites and offices, so it's better for you and the planet. Get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders using my link. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone to get started. There is quite a high variety of guns that take the 7.62x39 caliber, but of those that are full auto, we're really talking about the AKMN series, the 103 series, and the RD704 and Mutant. Each of these weapons is good for different things. Broadly speaking, the 103 and the 104 are the best for budget unsuppressed builds because they take the RRD muzzle brake and are very cheap to make, and they also have slightly better starting stats versus the AKMs. For being suppressed on a budget, you then move over to the AKMN series because these can take the 308 muzzle brake adapter and allows you to use other suppressors from 7.62x51 NATO, which are typically much more powerful than those for the AKM directly, such as the Knight's Armament QDC, which is the best in slot. Then we have the Mutant and the RD up at level 4 traders. The Mutant specifically has a higher fire rate than the other weapons at 650 rather than 600, which gives it a faster time to kill, but nowhere near close to something like the 800 of the Spear. You also have to make some compromises with the Mutant, as the short version is typically the best, but it can't get to quite the same recoil as the other guns, and the long version suffers on ergo a little, although after using it recently, it didn't feel as bad as I thought it might. That said though, it is very unfortunate that the Mutant can't take the 50 rounder. You're stuck with either the 40 round mags, which aren't too bad given the fire rate, or the 73 round drum with a lot of negative ergo that the Mutant can't usually spare. The long barrel also can't take the blast mitigation device, so if you did want to go for a loud and proud build, you can't take full advantage of the long barrel's lower recoil. My personal favourite of the bunch then is the RD704, because although the recoil isn't what it used to be and the fire rate is slightly lower than the Mutant, you can sort of get the best of everything. With the RD, it is perfectly possible to run an LPVO such as the Voodoo, a suppressor for which I'm using the Knight's Brake and the QDC suppressor, a 50 round drum magazine, and still have decent ergonomics, making the gun feel really quite snappy. This particular build is certainly my favourite, and because BP requires level 45 to get to anyway, you have to have max traders to use this. Before this, a 103 or an AKMN with PP bullets is the best that you can get. For me, the biggest advantage of 7.62x39 then is the ability to run 50 round drum magazines without completely decimating the weapon on the RD704. We've talked a lot about the Spear and the MDR recently on the channel because they're so popular, but you only get 25 bullets in these guns as an absolute maximum, so you better make every shot count. In a straight-on fight in CQB, you're probably just going to get shredded against the high RPM of the spear, but with the RD, a 50 rounder makes it so much easier to fight a squad in those messier kinds of fights, and I'll show you a clip of me doing just that in a moment. So it's not all bad for 7.62 BP, although I think that the elephant in the room is the fact that you have to craft this ammo and have to reach level 45 to get access to it. This simply isn't the case for M62 and SIG Hybrid, which means that you have to plan a lot more to use BP, which is quite annoying, and lots of players end up using PP instead, which is quite a lot worse against max trader loadouts. This combined with the low fire rate and the damage, which is good but not top tier, has made these guns tier 2 for a large portion of the player base, but I really don't think they're as bad as people make them out to be. I hear lots of people complaining about hit reg with this bullet in particular, and I just don't really think that this is true. In fact, I've actually been having a great time with it, as I'll show you now in a few clips to prove that it's not worthless, starting with the 1v3 that I mentioned earlier. Oh, for God's sake. What the? No! Right, we got him, boys. 3-man down, I believe. Maybe there's more. Fewer than 5! Holy moly. Maybe it was him. Mortars time. You don't seem to be able to get up. Oh, there we go. Where's our guy? Oh, I see him. Yeah. Where is that exactly? Hard to read. Sounded like this away. There was a bush sound ahead. Is there somebody here? No. Somebody like really well hidden. I swear there's someone right here. Oh. You killed this guy already. Annoying. Do another one. How those guys were invisible to me, I do not know. Whoa, he saw me. Alright. So as usual, big shout out to all my patrons, and as always, have fun in your raids.